This is the Deseret News National Edition, when your family needs to know more.
Good morning. Welcome to the Deseret News National Edition. I'm Dave McCann. Last year's Sandy Hook school shootings horrified all of us, left parents around the country fearful for the safety of their children at school. Robbie and Alyssa Parker lost their 6-year-old daughter, Emily, on that day. But as Mike Hedrick reports, instead of locking themselves away to deal with their grief privately, the Parkers are on a very public mission to make schools safer.
Emily's story does have the ability to touch a lot of hearts and to make a lot of changes for good.
I'm having a little trouble too.
Emily Parker was one of the 20 young victims struck down at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
She thinks there's someone shooting in the building.
There wasn't a murder in Newtown in over 10 years.
A tragedy that could have happened anywhere.
It had basically zero crime rate. That first night when we're home and we're asking ourselves all those questions about how could this happen, how could it happen so easily?
Since then, Robbie and Alyssa Parker have been on a mission to make schools safer.
We want to let people know that there's free, very cheap, one-time, low-cost things that you can do right now immediately to improve the safety of your school.
You think it's going to keep getting darker and darker and darker? Let's find out.
They've helped hundreds of schools all across the country, like Maria Montessori Academy in North Ogden, that are already putting the Parker suggestions into action.
It's not only empowering teachers and parents and the community, but it empowers the students in our classrooms.
It's going to get lighter?
Easy fixes like having parent volunteers make curtains to cover up interior windows. At Sandy Hook, the Parkers say there was one classroom that had a covered window, and the gunman walked right by.
If they can't see anybody, a lot of times they don't want to waste time trying to find out.
Another problem a lot of schools face are classrooms that do not lock from the inside. That can be solved with a $3 magnetic strip.
So if I was going to lock my door, I'd have to come out here and use my key to lock it. So what the magnets do is they save you time, and you don't have to leave your classroom. You can just remove that. My door stays locked all the time. I pull it closed, and now that no one can come in from outside.
After the shooting, one of the things that kept me up at night was the fact that our teacher was paralyzed in her ability to be able to lock her classroom door.
It works. And even though Sandy Hook had a buzz-in system at the front door,
He had access to the whole school in less than a second.
the gunman shot out a window. Parker suggests a bullet-resistant film for exterior glass that takes extreme time to shoot out.
Just whatever you can do to buy yourself a minute here, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, saves lives.
Since Sandy Hook, there have been more than 40 school shootings all across the country. None here in Utah, but schools here say that they are still serious about security.
The front entry will...
So we toured schools in Granite and the Canyon school districts to see new features.
So they'll shut and you can get out, but you can't get in.
Like doors that can lock down entire sections of the school.
You could literally lock a person if you had an active shooter in this part of the building. 90% of your population would be locked away behind locked doors.
Also extensive camera systems.
There's 83 cameras.
And new designs making it easier to monitor larger sections of a school from one spot. But each school still has its own challenges.
The fact that this large window's here makes it difficult to hide kids within that room if there was an active shooter. So that's a legitimate concern and threat.
Even brand new ones. But despite the challenges,
Let our hindsight be your foresight.
the Parkers say it's important to simply start somewhere.
Don't find yourself in the same situation that we're in.
And remember a little girl with a big smile who is still making a lasting impression on the world.
And I'm very proud of her for that and for the life that she lived that can really influence not just me as her dad or Alyssa as her mom, but anybody that's willing to open up their hearts to it.
Mike Hedrick reporting. Whether you're a parent or you work at a school, there are resources to help you at safeandsoundschools.org. It was started by Alyssa Parker and another Sandy Hook mom. They give you checklists to help you assess your school and easy solutions to make your school safer. From safer schools to buying homes, a new study finds that close to half of potential homebuyers are so afraid that they won't qualify for a mortgage that they're not even trying to get one. Deseret News financial writer Michael DeGroot is back with us this morning. Good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Good to be here as always.
Are these legitimate concerns?
Well, you know, there's going to be concerns that people have about whether they're going to personally qualify, but they're not even looking. I mean, 43% of people who would like to buy a home are not even trying to find out if they're going to qualify. But if you look at the actual numbers of people who do apply, 55.3% are qualifying for the mortgages. And that's up from 49% in 2012. So it's better than it used to be.
We went through the bust where no one was buying and it didn't seem like banks were lending. Are banks making it easier now to get a mortgage?
Well, they're asking for a lot more information from people, so not necessarily making it easier as the amount of stuff you have to get. So you might hear some things like that. But the FICO scores, the credit you don't have to have as high as people think. About 18% people think you need to have a FICO score of 680 to 770. But in reality, 1/3 are below 700. As a matter of fact, most are below 680 in order to qualify. And you can get even lower than that.
And can't you call the bank and say, I'd like to find out what my credit score is?
That's the crazy thing about this. To qualify, it's free. It's easy. You can do it online. You can call up somebody and find out, and then find out where you are. And let's say you don't qualify. What you going to do? Well, if you don't qualify, find out what you can do to get your scores better and find out what you can do to qualify. At least you'll know where you're at.
When I was in Las Vegas, and I was there for almost 2 decades, home building ruled everything. People think it was gaming and casinos, but the home building triggered the truck buying and the grocery shopping and all of those things. Now that we've kind of swung back around to where people can buy homes again, are they buying giant ones, or are they being a little smarter with the ones they're buying?
Well, right now, we're not really getting a lot of new construction as much as you might expect as it's becoming easier to buy. And so the market's very tight. As a matter of fact, in most of the United States, it's about 46% or so of the homes that are being bought with cash. And so it's a tight market out there right now.
All right. So what's your advice? Buy?
My advice is buy if you want, but at least, you know, if you're thinking you're going to buy, check it out. Find out if you're going to qualify. And if you do qualify, don't buy a house the size of what you're going to qualify for. Make it smaller. Make it so you're comfortable. Just because you qualify for an amount doesn't mean that's the smartest amount to go with.
Okay. All right. Whenever you come on this program, I learn something. So I'm glad you're here.
I learned something when I come here, too.
Anything else folks are listening to. Michael DeGroot, thank you very much. You can read more of his articles in the MoneyWise section of the National Edition. He wrote a headline about marriage that went viral, and now he's out with a new book. When we come back, author Seth Adam Smith will be here to explain why marriage isn't for you.